Welcome to Technology. I'm Ken Umansky, your host for another exciting discussion into the world of technology. Today, my guest is Chris Goh. Chris has spent his career developing products as an engineering leader, technical project manager, technical program manager, and product manager. He's worked for companies including Western Digital and spent many years at Honeywell understanding customer needs, developing air quality products, thermostats, and commercial building controls. In the past few years, he has worked with companies in the healthcare industry, grocery, and the trucking industry on their IoT integration. Chris was instrumental in developing Honeywell's smart home products, leading the team that delivered Honeywell's initial gateways, Wi-Fi thermostats, cloud services, and mobile apps to the market. Welcome, Chris, and thanks for coming today. Well, you really were a pioneer in IoT.
Hi Ken, how are you today?
I'm
Yeah,
great.
it's been an interesting journey, right? IoT is not a new term. It's been around for a while, right? Your home security system is an IoT system, for example. Industries connect devices to the internet to gather data. The big change really came about for us in 2008 when Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone. All of a sudden, right, the ability to everybody had a user interface in their hand that they then wanted to control their home devices with. Back in 2008, it was not a common affair, right? We were faced with the challenge of doing that quickly in the face of competition. And I can share that journey. Today, it's ubiquitous. You walk into Costco and you find internet-controlled lights, internet-controlled everything.
Yeah, they're controlling my bathtub. That's really a lot.
Correct. And if you look at some of Cola's products, they're controlling the bathroom,
Yeah,
right? The lighting and the music, and
everything else.
it's been a transformational experience.
Well, can you tell
Um,
us a little bit about your Honeywell experience? And I mean, you really pioneered some of the Honeywell IoT. Tell us a little bit about that. I know you worked with another company called Performix. You might be able to tell us a little bit about their role in it as well.
yeah. So in 2008, I was busy leading a team building humidifiers and stuff to keep the air quality clean in your house. And I wrapped that project up and was looking around wondering why we weren't connected to the internet. And sometimes timing is everything. And I did some technology work working with a partner organization in the security business, and and very quickly, before we knew it, we were told by our management, get this done in 6 months. We want a mobile phone in 6 months, and not just an app. We wanted to connect, your home internet systems to the internet. So there we were. What do you do, right? And so we had an existing home networking system that used a proprietary interface called RedLink. It's great. It allows you to connect your thermostats via uh, a low frequency, very robust communication protocol. And so we chose the easy step. We said we're going to build a gateway, a RedLink to Ethernet gateway. And we started there. And we didn't know the journey it would take, but the steps were build the gateway, which was easy, connect it to the internet, right, through internet, and then connect it to a back then cloud, but really it was a server application, right? And then from the server application, build out APIs, right, that then a website could use to interface to your home with. And through those APIs, right, a mobile phone could connect into your home. So that was the setup. We had no server team, right? We had no gateway team, so we ended up recruiting staff, a team of 6 people over in the Czech Republic. I had a team of engineers in China, right? Roped them in to build the gateway. And went off and worked at Performix, right, to come up with a mobile app. And and stitch the whole system together, right? And that was essentially how we got it going. Took us about 6 months, right? A lot of instrumental changes. Back then, it was not common to do an over-the-air update. Today, you get updates over your phone all the time,
Right.
right? Right. Back then it was new, and so the first thing we said was we're not going to get everybody everything that they want right away, right? So we got basic functionality in place, and then the second step was immediately, right? As my senior engineer friend told me, he said we're going to build what they put on the Voyager spacecraft, right? We need to be able to update this thing sight unseen,
Right.
right, and make sure that it happens. So that was feature number 2, right? And 3 months after we launched the product, right, sales started slow. We ended up with, 3,000 customers within 3 months, but that accelerated very quickly, and we started updating features every 3 months. So that was our initial foray into that. Um, Interesting journey. It was fun to do it in a big company because you were being entrepreneurial. That makes sense. Big companies are not necessarily entrepreneurial, right? And we were allowed to bend the rules and make things happen. So good experience. They then parlayed that same architecture. We took that Ethernet connection and we replaced it with Wi-Fi, and we shrunk the Wi-Fi interface and we started putting it into thermostats. So
Okay.
the next thing we know, we ended up with Wi-Fi thermostats talking to the same system, and then sales took off. Right, we put it in Home Depot, and within a year we had a million units attached, a million downloads of the mobile app. Right, we were getting not bad 4.5-star ratings on the internet, right? And from people out there using the app. And today it's still in use. This is what I think we're in 2023. 15 years later, you can still buy variants of this product, at Home Depot, right? And selling well. So that was the story of getting us. How do we get connected and onto the net?
So, how does that product differ from, the other thermostats that are on the market, or does it?
Um, it's sort of ubiquitous now. Right now, when we first started, we had, I think it was one competitor. It was a small company. We thought we could compete with them, right? But halfway along the way, Nest came along. And those that don't remember, Nest came into the market in about 2011, I think. This was the original Nest with their round thermostat, and we faced intense competition. And it was a tough slog, right? But between connecting into the internet, substantial growth, a highly well-funded, active competitor, it forced the organization to change, right? What started out as a skunkworks effort, right, very quickly turned into how do we improve the user interaction, right? How do we improve our end user customer support? How do we make sure that everything we do is what we used to call a 5-star experience, from the unboxing of the units, right, to the installation manuals, right, to actually using it, testing it on your grandma, ask your grandma to install it, right? And grandma was actually the CTO's mother, right? So you can imagine the pressures, right, to get the product right. Now, in addition, we had, with the spectacular growth, 1,000 units to 1,000,000 units. You didn't back then. Cloud technology was not as prevalent as it is today, right? And how do you scale the application? How do you get IT involved? In the past, IT used to not be part of the product development cycle, right? These things were left out. Product development did the product development, and then IT kind of watched. They were responsible for the internal facing applications, Salesforce, accounting systems, right? Now, all of a sudden, you're integrating the IT group into external facing customer applications, right? So huge organizational challenges relative to getting different people to work together, right? If you just look at the whole stack, right, it's a huge challenge, right? And anyway, that's part of the story, right? You can sort of see it coming. So as time has progressed, right, getting things connected to the internet and scalable architectures. Amazon now has they have a package that you can just download onto your computer. So does I think Google Cloud used to. I don't think they do anymore. Azure has one too, right? You can then put it onto that will get you MQTT, right? Which then gets you onto a scalable backend, which gets you into a database, and it gets you into scalable APIs, right? And a lot of the tools that were not present in the early days nowadays are easily found, right? So a lot of folks are connecting stuff up, but the organizational challenges of stitching it all together, those still exist, right?
Okay.
Data science, the gateway from IoT started out with connecting your home. Next thing you know, you're collecting data from people. As soon as you start collecting data from people, you have to have the rights to use that data, right?
Right.
And so you're talking to lawyers, right? So now you bring in, how do you bring that data in? Now throw in Europe, and they have GDPR, right? And their data rights practices, right? And once the data is in the system, right? Do you have the rights to use the system? So a lot of complexities, that you don't see on the surface. You go IoT, I just have to go to the Amazon store, I download the toolkit, right? I set up my cloud application, ding, zam, boom, I'm up and running.
Yeah.
But
A
maintaining
lot
all
more to it than that.
there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, a lot more to it. Let me ask you, you've worked in lots of different industry, healthcare, grocery, trucking. How is IoT being applied? To take trucking, for example. How is IoT being applied in the logistics world?
Well, let's take if you go out there and take a look, there are companies out there, a driver, right? Truck's driving down the road, right? And the company wants to know, an Amazon truck, where is that truck? Is the driver moving or is he not moving? Where is he? Right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So that's not a control application. That's a totally different application. It's tracking the truck and figure out where they are. Are they driving the most efficient routes? Stuff like that. Right. Can you provide them with information that they can do their job better? Right. So that's a typical a truck telematics application. Right. You know, that one can look at. In healthcare, think of your the world has changed so much, but think of yourself. If you put on a heart monitor or a sports tracker, right? Sports tracker is tracking your body functions, right? Your heart rate and your stress levels. Well, guess what? It's talking to your phone through Bluetooth. That's IoT, right? And that Bluetooth phone is now connected to the internet via cellular. And then there's a head end up there with data. That's another healthcare application. The industry that I worked in was slightly more interesting. They were tracking medical carts. So if you walk into a hospital, HIPAA, right, there's a lot of electronic integration to collect your records. Well, that cart carries a lot of medical equipment and there's a lot of value to it. Hospitals, believe it or not, these carts walk.
Oh,
What I
wow.
mean by that, in a
Yeah.
hospital, right? They just go, right? Because people use them and they move and they end up in closets and other places, right? And so hospitals that have deployed IoT in that space are tracking where they are, right? Who's using them, right? What floor are they on? Just for inventory management,
Mm.
right? So applications that you don't even think about, right, are actively in use, from yourself to industrial applications, right? There's the whole industrial, what is it? I think there's an IoT 4.0 study. I'm not familiar with it. That you can go through all these use cases, what you can do with them with IoT. So, it starts with sitting down, understand what problem you're trying to solve, right? If you have you talk to your customers, find out what problem they're trying to solve, right? If you can understand what they're trying to solve, you can then work with them, right, to try and identify how you can put a solution together, right? And pick from various technologies. And then once you stitch it together, like I say, the technology pieces are there, right? It's not simple, but they're there. And then work through meeting your customers' needs, right, through the technology. And Performix can help you get there, right? They helped me with the mobile app, right? And we became good friends along the way, right? But they can help you get there.
Oh, that's great. Well, let me ask you real quickly, what do you see the future of IoT being?
It's interesting, right? Everybody's afraid of AI and generative AI, right? But interestingly enough, with AI, with IoT, you're now essentially creating another source of data, right? So everybody
Right.
wants data streams. So
Yep.
IoT brings, depending on what you're trying to solve, a different set of data streams, right? If it's health and it's self-tracking, you're bringing in health data. If it's trucks and GPS and where they are, that's another set of tracking data, right? If it's medical carts, well, guess what? Somebody has to process all that data. And that's the next leg up, right? Getting the data stream into a environment. Now you're talking about a lot of data, right? And then who's going to look at that data, right? AI can really help, in my mind, right? Process that data, right? And I think in the future, you'll see them providing insights. I mean, you're really after insights at the
Yeah,
end of the
absolutely.
day, right? And the faster you can get insights, the faster you can react from a business perspective. I'll give you a simple example from back in 2011 for those that are older than Ken and I here, or around the same age as Ken and I. If you remember Hurricane Sandy, right? Back in I don't even know what year it was, but we were actually tracking Hurricane Sandy via our remote thermostat sites. It was rather interesting because we could see the internet connections go down on the East Coast. And when we mapped the ones that were going down geographically, right, we could actually see sites going, cities going down because of loss of
Well,
internet connectivity, and then internet connectivity coming up again, and the next city down the line going down and coming up again, right? So that's a rather simple example of insights, right, where you're now providing, and so now you look at your thermostat and you go, can I collect outside weather information? Right? If you have an outside sensor, can you collect that information? Is that data of value to a weather channel or somebody like
yeah,
that? And these were questions we were asking back in 2010. Nowadays I'm sure a lot of this has been conquered, but it just gives you food for thought.
right, absolutely. I really appreciate your insights and, first of all, your time for taking your time to be with us today. Um, I really do see you as one of the pioneers in the technology, and appreciate what you've been doing and what you've done in the past. So thank you very much for your help today. And how can people get in touch with you if they'd like to?
I'll give Ken an email address, Christopher.goh, Goh62 at gmail.com. And
And
I'll come back to you.
if our people have a question, people listening have a question for you, is it okay if they email you?
Yeah, just shoot me a note, right? I'm more than happy to network and share my insights, and help you along or point you in the right direction.
Terrific. Thanks again. So that's it for today. Next time on Technology, we'll be exploring another cutting edge technology that's changing the world. So until then, please remember, if you need help with any size technology challenge, please contact Performix Business Solutions at performixbiz.com. They're experts in AI, blockchain, and helping companies with the digital transformation, including IoT, that we talked about all day today. And you can find technology podcasts on Apple, Spotify, Google, and SoundCloud podcast channels. Hope to see you soon on the next Technology podcast. Thank you.